Rolling here. This is take 2. Allison. Take 2 for reals.
I felt like I was ruining them.
If I had to spend all day, every day with my kids, I would go crazy.
I really thought, I am messing it all up.
We did not have a very good view of homeschooling families in general. And so we thought we would never do that to our children.
A lot of people homeschool because they believe their children would get a better academic opportunity at home. I, for one, was a child who was pretty much always just painfully bored in school. I just remember most of school was about how to survive this excruciating boredom. And you couldn't work ahead, you couldn't do anything other than what everybody else was doing. It was like life started when school ended.
Hi, I'm Colleen Kessler, and I am a homeschool mom.
I'm Sarah McKenzie.
I'm Christopher Parent.
My name is S.D. Smith.
I'm Dr. Carol Swain.
I'm Andrew Kern.
Andrew Pudawa.
I'm Sam Sorbo.
Robert Bortons.
My name is Rod Brown.
I'm Mike Smith.
My name is Pam Barnhill.
Connie Albers.
Kathy Cool.
My name is Ken Ham.
Ryan Osborne.
Scott LaPierre.
Janice Campbell. And we have been homeschooling since the very beginning.
Homeschooling today is much different than homeschooling 20, 30, 40 years ago. There are so many co-ops, so many opportunities for kids to interact with other kids.
That's what the homeschool journey is about. It's about being there with your kids. It's about learning with your children. It's about teaching them the love of learning. It's about understanding who they are and how God made them and what calling does God have on their life.
But recognizing that one of the best ways to help do that today in our particular culture is through homeschooling.
Scholae roughly meant leisurely learning or undistracted time to study the things that are most worthwhile.
The first time I heard the concept of teaching from rest was, I was listening to Andrew Kern actually. He was giving this interview. I was cleaning out my 8-year-old son's closet and I was pregnant with the twins. So pregnant with my 5th and 6th kids. I'm cleaning the closet. I'm kind of in this state of despair. And I hear him tell the interviewer that the number one thing a homeschooling mom should do is teach from a state of rest.
The thing I want to say about rest is that that's what the Lord has called us to. And if you believe that you should be homeschooling your children, then you need to ask yourself a basic question. Do you believe that because you're afraid of something, or do you believe that because you're called to it?
I thought, this man has no idea what he's talking about, clearly. But it piqued my interest enough. I thought, this is so hard. This homeschooling thing, I'm so worried I'm gonna ruin something. I'm worried I'm not giving my kids every opportunity they could have, that if they're just relying on me for most of their education, there's got to be something wrong with this situation. I don't feel like I'm enough.
Our Lord has said to us very clearly, if you're weary and you're heavy laden, come unto me, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. And then he says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
And it was in the process of reading about rest and what it actually means to shed the anxiety and take on this work of homeschooling and raising my kids without all this angst and worry that really drove me just to find out as much as I could about it. And as I was learning about rest and what that means and what that could look like in the life of a homeschooling family, that's when I wrote the book.
I've been talking about this for a long time, for about 7 or 8 years after reading Pieper's book. Sarah started doing it.
He didn't expect the disciples to feed the 5,000. He said, "Bring me what you have." And they brought him this basket of loaves and fish, and he turned it into enough for the multitude.
She heard these talks from Andrew Kern and myself, and then she started to think, how could I actually do this? She began to write about it. She began to reflect on it. She began to make some changes slowly in her own homeschool. And then she was blogging about it. People were responding and saying, she touched a chord.
Teaching from rest for me looks like me bringing my basket, just the little bit that I have, and letting him turn it into something more beautiful than I could on my own.
You're not inadequate. You are perfectly capable. I mean, what is it about a parent that when their child turns 5, all of a sudden the parent's no longer a viable option? Like, oh, you're done. Now it's the school's turn.
I think the quality of education has steadily deteriorated in America. There is an agenda to steal our children.
You feel inadequate because you've been taught by our school system that you're inadequate.
We had no frame of reference for homeschooling other than it just seemed like torture. Like, why would a sane woman choose to be locked up with her kids for 18 years in a row when a school bus would come and take them away and give you like a 9-hour break every day?
No one knows your child better than you do, and no one loves your child more than you do.
And homeschooling changes the game on everything. Homeschooling allows us to say to the child, what sort of life do you want? What sort of God-given dreams, talents, and abilities is he speaking into you?
When we think about classroom education and we ask what makes for good education, almost every professional educator will say low student-teacher ratio, teachers who care, good methods, good curriculum. Well, in homeschooling, you get the best of all of those things.
What we discovered is that it's very efficient to homeschool.
You have the person who knows the student the best. You have the ability to customize the curriculum around the student. You have a great student-teacher ratio.
And I realized I am accomplishing with Sierra in 25 minutes to an hour every day what is taking the school system 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to accomplish with my older daughter. I loved watching the light bulb come on and watching her want to sit down and read with me. And I loved spending time with her.
There are just so many benefits, including being able to have a relationship with your own children.
Continue doing what you're doing. Don't give up, because I do believe that homeschool moms are America's greatest heroes.
When we started homeschooling, we didn't even know if homeschooling was for us. And we certainly didn't think that it was for everyone.
Well, we started out with this we'll take it a year at a time approach because we didn't understand the power of education. We didn't understand that education is discipleship. Now, as I talk to parents, my strong encouragement, my admonition, my heartfelt plea is take your children back. Our children have been held hostage by a school system that is telling them that their parents are not the authority in their lives, and parents have not known what to do with it. Sometimes parents will come up to me and they will say, boy, that's good for you, Heidi, but I just don't feel called to do it. I don't think that's something I can do. And I like to tell parents, if you have children, they are your responsibility. Parents need to start stepping up to the plate, get off the bench and onto the battlefield, and realize that the very hearts and minds of our children hang in the balance. And it is time for parents to take back what the public school has stolen from us which is the education of our children, and realize that we have been equipped. We've already been equipped, and we can do it. And so now the message is, listen, these kids belong to you. They don't belong to the schools. They don't belong to the state. They don't belong to a teacher. They belong to their parents. And we can make a difference in the next generation. It's time to bring our children home.